Here we go, brothers, big trouble this time. The motherboard is damaged and cannot be repaired. Today, we're fixing this phone. Can you guess the model just by its appearance? No need to keep you waiting, it's the Redmi K80. So what exactly is the problem with this phone? According to the fan who sent it, the phone was perfectly fine before going to sleep and was left charging overnight. But the next morning, no matter what, the phone just wouldn't turn on. At first, they thought maybe they had accidentally pressed down on the phone while sleeping, causing it not to power on. But actually, that wasn't the case at all. This had nothing to do with pressing on the phone during sleep. So, they took it to the official service center. The staff there said the motherboard was damaged beyond repair. Since the frame of the phone had some dents, the service center claimed it was user-caused damage and refused to repair it under warranty. They said the only option was to pay for a full motherboard replacement. But the cost of replacing the motherboard, way too high. Those who've had it done already know what I mean. Now, after removing this phone's motherboard, we can clearly see it has never been repaired before. Cases like this usually have a very high repair success rate. As long as the board hasn't been tampered with, we can repair over 99% of them successfully. On this phone, the CPU doesn't have sealing glue, which makes removing it relatively easy. Of course, there's a downside without sealing glue. The CPU is more vulnerable to water damage. If water seeps under the CPU, it can short-circuit and, in severe cases, cause permanent failure. In fact, the real reason this phone wouldn't turn on was simply because of a loose CPU connection. Just redoing the CPU fixes the issue. Whether pressing on the phone while sleeping could have caused this, it's hard to say. Now, let's move on and reinstall the CPU properly to see if we can get it working again. By the way, the Redmi K80 Pro is equipped with the Snapdragon 8 Gen processor. The two versions of this chip are worlds apart in performance. Why? Because the Snapdragon 8 Gen chip has special capacitors on top of the CPU. These capacitors must not be damaged. If they are, some functions won't work properly. In worst cases, the phone won't turn on at all. That's why CPU repairs nowadays are becoming more expensive and require higher technical skills. Luckily, on this Redmi, lifting the CPU is still relatively manageable. So let's get started. First, we evenly heat the CPU with a hot air gun. When the temperature is right, gently touch the CPU with tweezers. If it feels firmly in place, that means it's positioned correctly. After setting the CPU, we install the CPU cover. This is also called RAM. If users ever feel their RAM isn't enough, this part can actually be upgraded separately. Once the RAM is in place, we begin reassembling the phone, reinstalling the motherboard, reconnecting the camera module, pressing down the motherboard cables, securing the protective cover, and tightening the screws. Next, remove the lens protection film, clean the frame, and finally close up the back cover. Now, let's press the power button, and yes, it lights up successfully. After testing, all functions are working normally. Since the phone contains important personal data, we couldn't access the system due to the lock screen. But basic external testing was enough to confirm everything is fine. Thanks for watching. See you next time.